Hey everybody, it's Lynne Magnavite with Magnavite Communications, and today it's MC Live, the interview series. Real talk with real people who have real strategies on how to communicate in this crazy world. I read this quote the other day by novelist Ursula Le Guin, and she wrote, "One of the functions of art is to give people the words to know their own experience. Storytelling is a tool for knowing who we are and what we want." When I read that quote, I thought immediately of my friend Martita Rodriquez. Martita has been in the beauty industry for many, many years, but what some people don't know about her is that she's got some amazing hidden talents. She's a writer, she's a storyteller, she's a poet, and I thought it would be really cool to highlight some of those hidden talents. But also at the same time, I was at a networking event last week, and we were all having, I would say, a very difficult time with that elevator pitch, that rigid, structured, kind of, 15 words or less of what you do. Who is it? What do you do? Well, I thought instead of talking about what we do to engage an audience, why don't we talk about who we are? And what better way to talk about who we are than through storytelling? So I thought, oh my gosh, Martita is the perfect person to have this conversation with. So here's where I want your advice. The situation is we're entrepreneurs, we're business people, we're just somebody at a party and somebody comes up to us and said, "Hey, hi, who are you? What do you do?" Are there any hints to helping us tell our story?
I think it's going to sound super simple, but I think truth. I think you want to connect with people via the truth of who they are. That's one thing I will say I've never loved about when you first meet someone and they're like, "So what do you do?" And,
I hate that.
It's
out of my mouth too. I hate myself.
And then we can't help it. It wants to categorize us
yeah.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you try to strike up a conversation without that and then have that come later, I think that would be better. Because I think people connect through truth,
I love what you just said. So you're meeting somebody at a networking event, and instead of getting to that place of you take the lead and ask maybe an open-ended question,
like, why are you here, or what brought you here?
What brought you here?
Or who inspires you in this field? Or get deeper into knowing the person and not trying to sort of put them in that box of like what label they are.
Right.
Because we're a lot of things.
Absolutely.
And when people ask me sometimes what I do for a living, I get it. I understand what they're saying, but sometimes I think I'm so much bigger than that. So I think that's the thing, getting into people's layers. Really,
you are a layered human being. I love that. So ask a question first, an open-ended question first, and then let it organically kind of come back to you as to, well, this inspires me too because of X.
Exactly. And that's, I think, it makes the conversation more fluid. It just helps you kind of open up more, builds trust faster. Because you come from a place of non-judgment and really just wanting to know the real truth about somebody.
And I know many times you have just a few seconds to do that. How do you make an impression right away? Like how do you feel that you would make a 15, 30-second impression?
For me personally, and I can't speak for anybody else, a lot of eye contact and really engaging someone. Making sure when I speak with them, I'm really listening. Because I think that's another lost art, is listening. People will ask you, "How you doing?" and then walk off. Or "What do you do?" and then not really hear you.
Yeah.
What's your name? And how many people remember someone's name?
As I interrupt you.
See? But that's what I'm saying. You're taking the time to be genuinely truthful about the engagement that you're trying to make with someone.
Yeah. We talk. See, I think I'm seeing some themes in the discussions that I'm having with our fantastic guests, and actively listening, because how many times have you had this? You're at a networking event and somebody is like, "Oh, hey," and they're really looking past you to the next person, and you're like, okay, well, then that's not a connection you really wanted anyway.
Or they're waiting to formulate whatever the comment they're going to make after you finish your comment.
Right.
So, and that it takes away
formulating that comment and or formulating an opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah. What else can you carry with you to sort of tell your story if you're not used to telling your story?
I think your interests tell your story too. I think
very smart.
The kind of music you're into, the way you're dressed, the kind of fashion that you like, the kind of travel you like to do. A lot of your interests will reveal to someone who you kind of are a little.
So like, oh, I love that purple. You know, purple reminds me of when I went to, you know, Mexico that time. And,
Exactly.
and you're like, oh my gosh, I went there too. And then it's...
And I've planted a whole bunch of purple flowers in my yard. And it goes on from there.
Exactly.
And then you start talking about, oh, we both love flowers. And then blah, blah, blah. And it goes on and on.
Yeah.
So I think we complicate things too much. And I think it's sometimes
So
just
smart.
making it super simple. And I mean simple, just be truthful.
We do complicate things. And I think going back to what you were saying before, being still, being in the moment, meditating, kind of just finding your truth, that lessens that complication.